Are you tired of feeling run down and exhausted? In our fast-paced world, we're often surrounded by toxins that impact our well-being. I provide holistic solutions designed to detoxify your body and environment. With cutting-edge AO voice scan technology, we identify the root causes of your discomfort or dis-ease, making personalized healing easier than ever. Start your transformative journey towards a healthier, toxin-free life. Because at White Sands Self-Care, your well-being is our priority.
Do you suffer from anxiety? Ask your doctor about... Actually, don't. Try Vibe instead, the non-drug way to calm your nervous system. No crazy side effects, no floating, no feathers. Just gentle calm, without the side effects, like morphing into a dolphin. Vibe is energy therapy for your body, helping your nervous system reset naturally. Millions of therapy sessions delivered. Vibe. Calm without crazy. Side effects may include deeper sleep, calmer days, and feeling like yourself again.
Hello. Do you ever feel like you're walking the distance between realities? Have you noticed changes happening in your body or shifts in your own consciousness? Are you feeling alone and like no one understands what's happening? You're not alone. My name is Tina Lynn Fiori, and I am a Divine Alchemist and Energy Harmonizer. If you are looking for someone to connect with, to do consciousness sharing or open meditation, to realign with your higher self, please reach out to me at soulenergy.com, SOULENERGE. I look forward to walking this path with you.
Well, welcome everyone to another Mindful Monday. Today on Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross, we invite you into a powerful space of reflection and awakening with our guest, Tina Lynn Fiori. She's a divine alchemist and a guide of the heart. Tina helps illuminate the unseen patterns that keep you stuck in confusion and gently lead us back to clarity, authenticity, and purpose. Her presence is both grounding and expansive, offering not answers, but a deeper connection to your own inner truth. So if you've ever felt disconnected or searching or ready for something more, then this conversation is for you. Tina, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Laura, so much for having me here today. I'm so honored and grateful to be part of this conversation.
Oh, absolutely. I know we've been working on it for a little while, trying to get you here, but you know, when we're busy, we do what we can. So, but Tina, maybe you can take us back to the beginning. What experiences led you on your journey to becoming a divine alchemist?
That's a great question. So thank you for asking me that. From the beginning, really around age 4, I always had a deep connection with Jesus. So this wasn't a biblical Jesus. This was a Jesus that lived in my home, that brought me peace and comfort in my own heart, and definitely had a mother who always spoke of this presence, that we were loved and cared for, and that we were always worthy. And so I would say that was the beginning. Fast forward through a lot of life situations, which a lot of people have, going through a lot of changes in my own life with my own family. I would say it was probably in about 2023 that my life really started to open even more to the realization that I was more than just this organic framework. That there was something really expansive about my own existence. And through the assistance of a shaman who told me to start doing automatic writing, which I never heard of, just asking questions and just writing down the answers that were flowing, I really started to have these awakening periods of awareness, and it just was even surprising to myself.
Yeah, I bet. So when you said your mom always had that, how young were you when you first started to kind of realizing it?
I would say, in terms of like realizing the connection really young, as soon as I could remember. And a lot of people say that we have knowing. Knowing is our birthright. We all have that. It's intuition, it's the gut feeling that really, I don't know if ever really does you wrong. We override that intuition, we override those gut feelings because we want something different. And so we don't listen to our knowing, but we all have knowing. And I would say that I had that knowing of that divine relationship, which is open to all of us. Whether you connect with it in nature, whether you connect with it through Buddha or Krishna or Jesus, it doesn't matter. These are a consciousness that brings peace and a familiarity that you are important, that you can hold on to, that guides you to your higher self. This is what I truly believe. So at first, I would say when I was younger, I was scared all the time because I always felt like I could feel the presence of other people or something with me. And throughout time, I just shut that down and shut that down because I didn't know who to talk to about that. And it was scary. And I remember a therapist once saying, "Well, if you're really afraid, just tell it to go away." So at that point, I was really not open. But after my parents both died, one at 56 and one at 57, so pretty
Young.
young, yes. I was only 38 at the time. That was the first time I even went to a psychic fair. So I'm going to be totally honest, Laura. That was the first time I ever heard of Reiki. I ever heard of energy, that we were energy. So that really was like such an opening to my own mind about my own potential and what is possible. And even then, it was kind of minimal. Then I actually went to a medium for my first time when my mother passed away because I really wanted, and she had said, that it was just an incredible experience. And that night when I went home, my hands were electrified, and I'm like, what the heck? So I contacted her and she said, "Have you ever heard of Reiki? Because I think you should learn it." And then I did go through the process of being a master trained in Reiki and started to have some clairvoyance start coming on. But these are things that we all have. I so often am in spiritual communities and people are like comparing themselves. They're bringing those old constructs, which we're going to talk about,
Right. Yeah.
this reality, and it's like, don't compare yourself. As soon as you compare yourself with someone else, you're limiting yourself. You really are, because you are a unique reflection of magnificence. You are a divine being. And so you don't want to do that to yourself. We're all capable of incredible things. And we can talk more about how we start to embody that, so
Oh,
that we can
yeah.
get more into the knowing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Agree with you 100%. All right. So, first of all, I do want to say sorry about the loss of your parents. That is a very young age, to be at that age. And a lot of people have gone through that in different times. I think some people are worried about what other people will think or the stereotypes or maybe think you're nuts. So I'm surprised the person you saw just told you to kind of just tell them to go away instead of calling it your imaginary friend. I mean, everybody does different things to try to justify it. So I know it's not an easy path, but I am definitely glad that you found your way. You were mentioning the consciousness. So, can you tell me, was there a defining moment when you realized your path was about guiding others to higher consciousness?
Yeah, I would say that really was when I went to Brazil in 2023. I took a trip because I wanted to learn about how there were hospitals and community centers that were combining Western medicine with energy healing. These are Kardecic spiritist centers. So they do have a philosophical foundation that believes that we are a divine intelligence and that we're ever evolving, that we're in incarnated soul, and that we can actually interact with disincarnate spirits. And I'm going to be completely honest, this blew my mind. I mean, I had to read 5 books before we went, and it wasn't anything I had ever even been exposed to. But the more I lean in and I look back at all the threads that truly do weave the tapestry of our lives, everything is pulling us directly where we need to go if we're willing to listen. And I really stepped into my authenticity and said, I'm going to Brazil. I'm going to take out a loan and I'm going. And it was just magnificent. So when I got there, I'm going to totally share the experience
Oh,
that
please do.
when I stepped into the community center there, I could feel the Christ consciousness. Now, I want to say, when I say that, I did not know the term Christ consciousness. I didn't. But I felt divine love. I felt a love that was so pure and so raw and so compassionate that I never experienced before in my life. And honestly, the next day, which was November 11th at 1:11 in the morning, I started receiving messages, and I didn't even know that was a portal. It's only 11:11, you know. So I started receiving messages that I spoke into my phone, and these were divine messages. And the first one was on compassion, and it was on how, compassion is returning to the earth and that we can move mountains with compassion. We are so incredibly gifted, and we need to come back truly to our heart and to our body and learn interconnectedness and love for one another. And through that series, I actually channeled the book in 21 days. And honestly, I'm going to tell you too, I watched movies on channeling. I said, that is not me. I do not want that. I'm not going to do that. I don't sit and channel for people. But I received messages for about 6 months. And then I decided I want to start sharing some of this information with other people.
Yeah, that's amazing. And maybe you can explain to people a little bit, because all of this, and I'm 58 now, so but all of this I have only started learning like in the last couple of years. It's just not things that are talked about. It's not things that are taught in school. Yet there is a whole community and a whole world of people out there that know about all this stuff in the higher consciousness. You mentioned the 111 and the portals. Can you expand a little bit on that and what that means?
Yes. So there are different times. I don't know a ton about the planetary systems that are moving, and like the different things that are on our birthdays and
Well,
all
I
of
know it's
that.
all connected. There's just so much to learn. It's
Exactly,
impossible to know it
exactly.
all, but
So I
yeah.
know with the portals, like the 8-8 portal and the 11-11 portal, that there's times that where we are with those planetary alignments, that we're opened more in terms of our own consciousness, in terms of our own alignments, is the best way that I can explain that. Some people call them vortexes. Some people call them just places that you can expand more open to getting and receiving messages. I had one beautiful lady that just said, well, you didn't need to go to Brazil, but that's a great story. So, yeah, and I'm honestly going to tell you too that I'm going to be 56 in April. This just opened up for me in the last 4 years. So this is not something that I was even really, that I understood or even knew anything about. But consciousness is becoming aware of itself. And what I mean by that is that we are becoming more aware of our abilities. And some of us are purposefully opening to that, and some people are blowing open to it. And this has been happening throughout time too. I mean, there's a lot of children that have these knowings. I mean, they'll tell their parents, I saw grandma, and they're like, no, you didn't, grandma's dead. And if they don't stop saying it, they're medicated or they're punished.
Yeah.
So a lot of times in our culture, it's not acceptable, and that's changing. So we have agreements. I mean, right? These agreements, we don't make them consciously, but we do agree. We agree that certain things are acceptable and certain things are not acceptable. And my dog is sleeping.
I was gonna say, sounds like a puppy dog dreaming. Mine does that too when he starts dreaming. That's okay. He's having a good dream. He's running.
Yeah, she'll be scratching at the
Or
doorbell.
she.
Let her know. But I think that, we're we're just becoming more aware that these knowings are something that are a divine gift, a birthright, and that we don't have to medicate them. We don't have to be afraid of them. And I was talking about the agreements, just because we talk in symbols, we do with our words. And just because people say it's the truth, it doesn't mean it is the truth. And that's where we're at with all of this, is that we do have abilities, we do have birthrights, and more they're coming on for people. And so there's just more assistance and help out there for people, that if you are having these knowings, if you are having these experiences, if your body is going through a lot of changes that you can't understand right now, this is globally happening. And there are people that are willing to help you look in more introspectively at what is causing this and how they can assist you with it.
Yeah, I will tell you, when I first started getting introduced and started meeting more and more people, I started recognizing terms like they were always told they were too sensitive, or deja vu moments or ringing in ears. There was different things that I just always tried to explain away at something else or justify it. But I started thinking, I was like, okay, there's this whole line, and then you start meeting these other people, and they all start saying, they start seeing the same things, and it's like, okay, it's not like this one talked to that one. They're in totally different countries. So there's something to the whole, energy and stuff. So there is a whole world out there if you're open to it
Yes.
and you're not worried about being ridiculed. And that's why I love doing this, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have been told those same things and aren't realizing that there's other possibilities. And like you said, yeah, they don't need to be medicated. There's nothing wrong with them. They don't need to be locked away.
Yes.
They just need to be heard and connected to other people that, understand.
Yes. And so often, and I may have said this already, but people think they don't have that gift. They're like, I want to be like the person channeling. I want to be, and that's just limiting yourself, because you are like that. We all have these gifts, and it just starts with becoming aware of yourself, aware of your own behaviors, and coming into alignment with what you want to bring forth, the person that you want to be. So I offer a whole course called A Course in Knowing, and it's all about that. How do I get realigned back into my own knowing? And so don't bring those constructs into your life that you are not as good or at that level, because really this is just awareness. It's becoming aware of your own awareness, and that's what starts to expand, and that will continue to expand.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That's something else that I've also learned, is that we've all had that ability. It's just a lot of it either got shoved down or pushed aside because of either what society or how we were brought up, or things you're not exposed to, and you're thinking that there's something wrong, or you just kind of stuff it down. But
Yes.
uh, but you mentioned the constructs, and I know you speak about constructs of confusion. What are some common ones that you see, and how can people begin to gently unravel them?
Yes. So I just want to say that, probably from my higher self, this information was given to me on the constructs of confusion. And that wasn't even anything I ever heard of before, but I love it because it takes away judgment.
Hmm.
We all have these constructs that have been burdened upon humanity. Even, my shirt says be beautiful. We're all beautiful. It's like, who says what beauty is, and I could get off on a whole like soapbox with that. I mean, those are through broken lenses,
Yes.
through what people say beauty is, but the truth is we're all beautiful. And so these constructs are constructs of, you're not worthy, you are not enough, you are not smart, you are not capable, you are not like the person who is rich and has everything, and we agree to these things. We say, again, probably not consciously, but we go along with it. And what's happening right now is not about the war outside of us. It's the war inside of us, the war that we're doing to ourselves. Because we don't even need people to tell us that we're worthless. We tell ourselves that, or a lot of people do, and I don't want to speak for everybody. I mean, I am using
Right.
a general term here. But these constructs are the constructs that keep us blinded to our own empowerment, to our own worth. And it's really important that we start to become very aware of them, because right now, this is a war of perception and manipulation. It's a war of who controls the spaces in your mind, and however we want to see is about what we believe and perceive, is what creates our reality. And these things are all grounded and based in science. And there's a lot of people that are out there that are talking about that are physicists and scientists. And so if you want to know more about all of that, about how we are energy, there's a lot of people that are talking about that. What I really want to talk about is, how do we really make this real? How do we make this work in our lives? And to me, there is a difference between knowledge and wisdom, and that is embodiment. You
Mhm.
know, you can read something, but are you living it? Are you being it? Are you embodying it? And that's what helps me see more clearly my own consciousness. And I have had incredible experiences when I just start witnessing my own behavior and course correct. That's another term, back into my own alignment with what I want to bring forth, and become very aware of that. And the more I was doing that, the more I was getting into higher states of clarity and higher states of my own knowing, which is bringing me really into the infinity point, which is basically where we're creating from, because we're creating all of it. We're creating what we want to be in our lives.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. It's a whole new world. And like you said, it's been opening up more and more. It's been widely accepted. I know a lot of people, or it's getting more widely accepted, I should say. A lot of people like calling it the woo woo space and stuff, but there is science that is backed behind it, which, for the ones that have to have the proof or some kind of backing, you have the science for it. But
Yeah,
I
and
know,
be careful of the stigmas. Watch for that. Watch for that. Get curious.
yeah.
Because when people are stigmatizing things as woo woo and out there, and I'm not like that, are you? you know, just be aware of that. There's a reason for it. And the reason is they don't want people to go into those spaces, because to them it's scary, and it's a loss of control. I can't control you if you're going to know your worth and your power. Yeah, and so it's really important to question everything. I mean, really, that's the best place to be.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's like, yeah, make the choices and the decisions for yourself and not let others, you
Yes.
know, protect your space. Now, I know you work a lot with people and helping them from getting that stuck. So for someone that is feeling stuck or disconnected right now, what is the first small step you would invite them to take toward clarity?
I think that having a practice, if you can, of just getting quiet and trusting, it doesn't mean you have to sit in meditation. Some people can do that. I think it is good if you can do that, but just anchor yourself with your breath. Take a couple deep breaths, come back into your body, get curious about the ways that you feel about things. I try to see everything as an opportunity. Ask yourself, if you're feeling deflated, if you're feeling upset about something, what can I learn from this? What opportunity is being brought to me for me to really re examine myself? Because it's not about having a master over you. It's about self mastery. It's about getting to know you and the return back to yourself. I think that's one thing you can do. I think another thing is just be aware of your behavior. Start watching it. And when it's not the way that you want to behave, correct it. Not in a judgmental fashion. No, with love. I'll give you an example. I'm out walking my dog. She pulls me and I pull forward, and I get angry. And then I'm like, okay, I don't need to be angry right now. That's not how I want to be. So, I'm bringing love to myself. I'm recognizing a behavior I don't want to be. And then I take a deep breath and I come back into my own alignment. And just maybe even say to my dog, I'm sorry, I didn't need to yell at you. I started doing this, Laura, with everything. When I was in the drive through and someone cut me off and I'm like, what? And then I'm like,
That knee jerk reaction of,
cut me off. I
yeah.
know. I don't know why they cut me off, but maybe they got a lot going on. Maybe, it doesn't matter. I got to come back in.
Mhm.
And I started having incredible experiences at higher levels of awareness doing this. So it's one of the things that I do teach with different activities, because make it a game. I mean, have fun with it, because creation is clever, and I'm always laughing as I co-create this reality. You can't creation is it, you can't think of some of the things that are coming your way, and that's another thing. When I went to Brazil, I didn't limit my thinking. I went with no expectations. Take the expectations off, because what creation can come up with is so much more than we could ever believe. So it is just, and also just believe. When you see the dragonfly, or you see the thing that reminds you of a loved one in spirit, or you think that something's there to help you remember something about yourself, trust it. Trust it. We're so quick to just say, that's nothing, that's nothing. But that's not true. We've left ourselves so many little breadcrumbs and so many ways to get into and remind ourselves of our own knowing. And I can guarantee anyone that's on this call, if you look back and you say, wow, that led me to that, that led me to that, that led me to that, it's all designed that way. It's all designed for us to return home and remember who we are, you know? And so I think we're at a time right now where there is a split in consciousness. And in that split, some people are going to go and expand more and more and more and more to their own knowing, that they can heal themselves, that they can do magnificent things in this world, that they can create a life that truly aligns with what they want, as long as they're consciously aware of what they're bringing forth. So yeah, I hope some of those things are helpful.
Yeah, I would say, especially, the getting rid of the expectations. I would also say get rid of the judgment.
Hmm.
Because if you're already judging things, or you're expecting things, or you're overthinking and you're just trying to figure everything out and explain it, just let it go. Then you're much more open and into receiving, and starting to see, or maybe pick up on some of those patterns and the things that you've gone through.
Exactly.
Yeah. So have you ever, when you gotten triggered, have you ever stopped, gone within and taken a breath and asked yourself why that triggered you?
Absolutely. I do it every single day, because those triggers are there to help us come back into the body. Those triggers are cellular knowings that we have in our bodies based on trauma, based on experience that we had, sometimes even through lineage. If you want to go into that on a deeper level, I mean, there is things that, again, through science, that's in our DNA, that's coming from our parents. I mean, people who smoked, they have children who are more likely to smoke, in their DNA. And so when I was really becoming aware, I was just noticing and observing, and the observing became an awareness of the awareness, which brought me into a state of clarity. And I'll give you an example. I was driving and I was really upset about something. I had the music on, because music gets us into this emotional state.
Oh yeah.
I was crying and I was like feeling it. And then I zoomed out, not out of my body though. I zoomed out internally into a knowing. And I could see that pattern. And I heard to myself, you can do that if you want. You can do that. But you've been doing that for 30 years and you don't have to do it any longer. And this was from a whole nother level of seeing myself. And I just started laughing, because I was like, oh my God, you're right. And so it really was this practicing that led me into that knowing. And so that was actually visually seeing a pattern, from a different level of clarity. Another time I was driving, and again, keep course correcting, keep doing this for months, and this driver was behind me honking his horn. He was so angry because I was trying to merge in traffic. And in the past, I would be very upset by that. Honestly, it would make me cry because I didn't like it, again, a trigger like you're talking about.
Right.
And all of a sudden that's zooming out, and I was like, I had no feelings, and I was like just watching this driver's anger, and I was like, wow, his anger, that has nothing to do with me. But honestly, my central nervous system completely different, and it was so different I could really be aware of it. Again, these practicing these behaviors got me into an embodiment, and the embodiment got me into a clarity that I could see it from another state of awareness. And I really recommend do it. Just do it. Have fun with it. Make it a game and watch your life change, because it really does. And you begin to see that we're not broken. We're patterned. These are patterns that we've been given since we were little children, ways of thinking. And again, those agreements that we didn't agree to as children, that we were going to take that on, but we did because it's what we were taught, the knowledge. And then once you get into the wisdom, you're really going to see that you can change that, because you can become aware of the patterns. You can become aware of the triggers on a cellular level, and you can begin to release them and create new agreements for yourself, which creates a new reality. And, and the great walk the distance between realities. I'm telling you right now, we're constantly walking the distance between realities. And you don't have to be woo-woo to know that. And this is dynamic. We're moving in and out of this all the time. I love the Four Agreements. I'm bringing that in. It's Don Miguel Ruiz. If you haven't read it, read it. I also live by that. Be impeccable with your word, because words hold power. Don't take anything personally. It's not about you. It's about them. Let them have it. These agreements are so amazing. And I really started to embody those agreements in my life. And a lot has changed based on that too, because it's becoming consciously aware of your own consciousness. And that's what it's about, right? It's not about who's enlightened and who's not. Enlightenment's a construct. You know what I mean? It's, again, we all came together and collectively said this person's enlightened. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
more awareness on awareness. And that's what it is. And the more aware we become, the more we come home to ourselves. And we just get to learn about who we are, because we are in our divine perfection. And when we let it all unfold, we just come home to the knowing that we are the oneness. And I know I throw those words out, but the truth is we are all one, and we are returning home to that interconnectedness together, where unity and love and forgiveness create a society that's for everyone and not just for some. And I
Yeah.
think that's where we want to go, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that is a wonderful book. I have it. I have the same book, The Four Agreements. It's a great book to read. Would highly recommend that as well. But yeah, and what you do, I mean, your work is deeply heart centered. I mean, we can tell by the way you are, the way you speak, and you and I are both very heart centered. A lot of people are, but what does it truly mean to live from the heart in today's fast paced, often overwhelming world? Because we've got a lot of stuff going around. I had another guest on too, which I just totally admire him. I mean, he's able to just stay in that place of heart, like no matter what comes around. But what does that mean to live from the heart for you?
Yeah. To me, that's what alchemy is, right? It's love. It's love, because ultimately that's what each one of us is at the core. And I really believe that the first message I received was on compassion for a reason. To live from a heart space is truly to live from compassion. To recognize a lot of people are not even aware of what they're doing because of constructs of confusion. And if you want to go to the symbolism of Christ on the cross, he said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do," because they're not aware. They're not aware. They're not awakened to what they're doing, because they're still in the grind, right? They're still oiling the machine that we've all been part of since Egyptian times and before. Slavery hasn't ended. It hasn't. We're still enslaved to our own way of thinking and believing that keeps us separate and divided from each other. And only when we turn back to compassion, real unconditional love, forgiveness, and compassion for each other, are we going to have a society of unity. And, some people are like, well, Tina, this is great, but it's not a utopia yet. And the thing is I get that. I get that. But you know where it starts? In each one of us, in our
Mhm.
own heart, reflecting what we want in the world. Because truly, you can't force awareness. You can only reflect it. And each day I wake up and I try to be that reflection to the best of my ability. And does that mean I do it every second of every day? No. I haven't mastered
We're
it.
still human.
We're still in this 3D, and I get that. I get that. And people are dealing with a lot of things, and I love you, and I hold compassion for you. But once we start really holding compassion for ourselves and each other, then we're going to see, and we already are. It's already happening that we have way more in common than we don't. And most of us truly do want to live together in interconnected harmony. And that is happening globally and in our communities. So you have to turn away from all of the distraction. You got to look for the person behind the curtain and realize truly we are Dorothy. We had it all along. We just have to return back to our own hearts. No one's coming to save us because why should they? Truly, we're going to
Right.
save each other because we are the answer.
Yeah, you got to start with yourself. You got to save yourself because no one's coming to save you. And then, like you said, that utopia. If you sit back and wait for it to exist, it's not going to happen. But you can have yours and invite others to join into utopia, and
Yeah,
then it grows.
it does.
Yeah.
And it is growing. I mean, that's the exciting thing is that it is growing. More and more communities are just awakening, and more people are getting together, whether they're planting common gardens, whether they're bartering for things, whether they're exchanging energy work with each other, or they're blending, conventional medicine with energy healing. I'm not about getting rid of medicine. I mean, medicine has its place, but it's
Hmm.
been distorted,
Right.
and we have become a society of functioning, not feeling and healing. And so it's really important to get back into those things. And we can help each other do that. So, and we are doing that, and it is happening. And that's exciting. That excites me.
Oh yeah, and that's true because the more people I meet, the more I see it growing and growing. And like you said, you can see more of the awakening coming up, and more people that just didn't realize it's there. And it's fun to see them starting to waken up and come along and help
Yes.
grow that community.
And even if you want to look at words, I mean, look reality up in the dictionary. It's whatever we say it is. It's a common agreement. So we're creating it. If we want this to be our reality, then it's going to be. But if we say no, and it does, it takes bravery.
Hmm.
It does. It takes courage. It takes a willingness to step up and step into love, but I think we're up for the challenge. I do, because I think that together we can be more. And I like that. That's one of your messages. I mean, together we can do more, we can be more, we can go further, and we can create a world that's unified.
Yeah, and I think with everything we've been through and stuff, people are just kind of ready for a change.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And that's what forces change, right? So I guess, the chaos is where the unlimited potential is,
Hmm.
so out of it, we're going to create that together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people don't always see it because a lot of times when things happen, we have sometimes a tendency to just kind of spiral and stay with the negative. But no matter how bad something is, there is always an opportunity, but you just have to be aware and be able to look for that opportunity. And that takes effort. It doesn't just come. It normally takes effort.
Yes. And holding compassion for the people that are in the spiraling, the people
Hmm.
that are in the being reactionary, because there were moments and times I was there, people are like, well, how did you get where you were? Well, it's taken me 50 something years, but now I'm seeing young people doing it. It's not taking them as long. They're coming on board a lot faster, and even with young people are like, people are lazy, people don't want to work. I think people are resistant. People are like, I don't want to work 60 hours a week and give away all my time, give away my life for what? So So think about it that way too. We kind of always did it because we thought that's how it had to be done. But maybe it doesn't have to be done that way. Maybe we don't have to be slaves and we can enjoy our lives together too. So I don't know. I think it's going to be fun creating what's coming in the future, for all of us to really have a more enjoyable existence together.
Yeah, I will tell you, years ago, I was on that same bandwagon where it seemed like everybody was like lazy, because they didn't, not that I can speak much about whole, I've had a number of different jobs, but when you grow up in a certain generation, they expect you to do
Yes,
something. It's realized it's like, okay, they've watched their parents come home, wrung out, tired, stressed out, turning gray.
yes.
What makes us think that they want to go do the same thing? It's just that they've found a different way to work and a smarter way to work and know that they have options. So I for one, I love seeing it when people are younger and they just already have this whole, the whole entrepreneurship, the whole openness and the awareness. It's just, I'm glad that it didn't take them as many years as it's taken me or you.
Yes, yes. And that's what the unfolding is too, right? It's just letting all of these constructs fall away, and discovering who we are. I think that it's so important to know thyself. I mean, that is such an old saying, Ganate Satan, I mean, know thyself. And we haven't had time to know ourselves because we've been too busy working.
Doing what we thought we were supposed to do. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And to get the materialism, right? Which I'm going to honestly tell you that I see people at Goodwill all the time getting rid of the materialism. I mean, unloading it from their cars. They're like, please, I don't want to dust this. I don't want to clean this. I don't want this, all this stuff that I thought would bring me happiness. And maybe it did for a short period of time. But there is no lack. There's no lack. I mean, that is a construct, and a lot of people have been sold that we don't have enough. We have enough for everyone. We do.
We do.
And so we have to come back to understanding that that's a lie. That's the fifth agreement that came out in 2010. Listen and observe closely to everything you hear, but no, most of it is a lie because it is. And so we have to use resonance. We have to say, does this feel right to me? Is this the truth? And we're coming into a time now where people aren't being punished or hung or burned, for saying no. It doesn't resonate with me. No, I don't want to do this anymore. It doesn't feel right. It isn't right. And yeah, and how beautiful is that we're seeing all these communities gathering together and saying the same thing. Because when you start to create norms and huge shifts like this, awareness changes everything. And awareness is what creates the reality that we're going to live in. So I just really want people to know you are worthy. You're worthy as the next person, absolutely all day long, no matter what. You don't deserve to suffer. It doesn't matter. You don't deserve to suffer. And you can start to become more aware of your own gifts and abilities. Trust, lean in, and know you have intuition. You can think, what's a time when my gut told me this or my heart felt this way? And did you listen or did you override it? Because we got that free will, right?
Right.
We're making those choices every single day. And sometimes we override it out of fear because we want something different or we don't think that we're capable of being stronger, being alone or standing alone. And so that's where you have to hold the compassion too. It's okay. All of it. Your feelings, your everything you're experiencing, it's all okay. And that's really how I want to live my life every single day, Laura, is just knowing that everybody is okay wherever they're at. And we all are going to take our own, whatever our timeline is, to see things differently when we're meant to see them differently. And that's why there's so many people talking on this topic. People are like, oh, well, what can I share? Everybody's talking about it. But there's 8 billion people on this planet, and everyone's hearing it differently. Some people will resonate with me. Some people will resonate with Laura. Some people will resonate with the mom who's crying and still in that period of going through the grief, because we are walking the distance between realities, each one of us. And we're always in different places and spaces in each given moment. So the only thing I can express the most is the awareness. Become aware of yourself. Be conscious of your own consciousness, because that's going to help lead you to where you need to go next. And trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the thing is too, when you were talking about that, it's like, yeah, people have mentioned that too. And I was like, I can have, you know, 1,000 different self-care coaches on here. It really doesn't matter because like you said, some would resonate with me, some would resonate with you. We may have a different way of saying something or approaching. It's because we're all unique and different. So, you know, it's not a competition, it's a collaboration because really all we want to do is to help people to get to the where they want to be, a healthier life and a better awareness. And along with that awareness, though, also is a clarity. And I think that's a lot that we struggle with because of everything going on. Everything is so cluttered and busy. How do you personally navigate those moments when your clarity feels clouded or challenged?
That is such a good question. Um, I do my best, honestly, to breathe, because we don't breathe, we hold our breath, to come back into the body when I feel deflated or I feel like my mind is muddied, and to just be still, and ask myself, where does that live in my body? What does that feel like in Tina? What am I really looking for? Am I looking for validation? Am I looking for love? Am I looking for someone to say I'm right? I think it's really important to really go back into your own knowing and ask, what is it that I need to know about myself? And it's become a lifestyle. I mean, all of this is just how you choose to live your life. And when you're in a pattern, it's something, a distorted loop of reality. It's hard to get out of unless you pull back from it. If you're in it, you can't see it. And I think that would make sense to most people listening. You have to pull back. And so pulling back, some people write and journal. I highly recommend that, whether you're asking your higher self or just writing your own thoughts. And then read them. And so again, you're seeing yourself, you're observing, you're being the observer to your own awareness. Because a lot of this is awareness. You can't change anything if you're not aware of it. I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it's really important. And that's what gets me into higher states of clarity. But I'm always laughing with creation, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm having these epiphanies because I'm just in my thoughts and in my own my own knowing. And I just didn't realize how expansive that is. And it's expansive for each one of us, and when you talked about like competition, that's a construct. Be aware of the constructs you're bringing in. One of the things too, when we were in Brazil, there were people that were talking about these great, amazing, expansive states that they could go into. And they would have these experiences where they were seeing things and feeling things. And people were looking at them like in awe. Again, bringing in that construct, because I'm going to compare myself with you. And then some of these people couldn't even hold any compassion or be kind at all. They weren't embodied. They didn't embody those things, but they were still able to really do expansive, amazing things. So I just say, observe everything. Really observe everything, and watch it from another level of awareness. And if you start pulling into triggers, observe that, and observe it all, because it is awareness, being aware of awareness. And I do want to say it's amazing, because I've been saying this stuff, and then I pull up this reel with Jim Carrey and he's talking about awareness being aware of itself and how he wants to get back into that state, and all the stuff he's talking about. And I didn't even know he was going through this, but it's like so many people are coming back to this knowing, because consciousness is changing. It is changing. I think partly because we're changing and we're becoming more aware, but I think it's also changing intergalactically, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I don't think it's just us. I think, we're so expansive. And when I heard from consciousness, I heard from source energy that called itself the Immaculate Contemplation, which to me is a beautiful way of saying the first thought. that ever thought. And then we became the sunbeams of all those thoughts. And so, if that's the truth, which I believe in my heart it is, then we're all the oneness. We're all creation. And we all have a place and a purpose and a meaning. And that's why we're here witnessing what we are today with each other. So I think it's one of the most incredible times to ever be alive, that we get to be here and truly see this incredible change for humanity. It might be chaotic for a while. We might be all be saying, "What the heck is going on?" You know. Um, but the truth is, something beautiful is emerging, and I think we're really lucky to be a part of it. I don't even think we're lucky to be a part of it. We chose to be a part of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of change coming. Tina, we've got about 5 minutes left. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel and what you have coming up and what's on the horizon for you?
Yes. So yeah, please join me on YouTube. I would love that. My YouTube is just inspirational knowings. Just trying to bring out stuff. I do have some longer ones with the readings that I channeled, and I'm also going to start being on Substack. I would like to start making these available for people to read themselves. I do believe in a lot of the writing and the things that people are talking about. There's a lot of coding in a lot of it. It is. It's activating people's knowingness. And you can do deep dives. I mean, we could do a deep dive on so many of the stuff that me and Laura are talking about today. And it's just have fun, everyone, because that's what it's all about. This is a big playground, and it doesn't feel like fun sometimes. But creation is clever. It is clever, and you are the co-creator of everything that's happening. So have fun with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have a book out, right? Also?
Yes, I have a book that's called It Will Come to You. Oh, I got it right here. My daughter actually drew the cover because when I went to Brazil, I saw macaws. They actually greeted me when I came, and then I saw them again when I left. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was just an amazing experience, to just open up to so much information. I never expected to do that. And I know people are channeling information. People are doing light coding. People are coming into mediumship. And if you're not doing those things, it doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It just means that you are in your own level of consciousness and awareness that is being aware of itself. And it will continue to expand as much as you put into that expansion. And lean into it. So, because I really believe the universe responds to what you truly embody and you truly live and you show up as, not what you want in your mind. Because we are energy. I mean, Einstein proved that theory. We're energy. Everything is energy. And the whole thing about this whole creation is to just continue to expand. And we're expanding into something delightful because we've had the slave thing forever. We've done that. We've been
We
part
have.
of this machine. And I think most of us want off and we want into something new and different. So we might have to go through some tumultuous times together. But you know what? The bottom line is, and my mother taught me this, we can be the calm in any storm when we do it together.
I love that. That's beautiful. And I would say your daughter's very talented. That's a beautiful cover
Thank
too. I didn't
you.
know she drew that. That was
Yes, she did. Yeah, thank
see a family that embraces it together. You can do more together.
Yeah, most of the time. Sometimes they're like, stop talking to us. We don't want to hear it anymore. But that's okay too.
That's okay. Tina, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to be here with us. I hope this has been enlightening for a lot of you. Obviously, if you're feeling stuck or you've struggled with any of the top issues and stuff that we have talked about, you can see Tina is so easy to talk to, very heart centered. She's such a beautiful soul, and I'm glad we were finally able to have you on the show and work out our schedules. So please reach out and connect with her. And Tina, is there anything last words or that you want to leave everybody with before we go?
First of all, thank you, Laura. Thank you. You made this just joyful, and I appreciate it so much. And the only thing I really want to share is be the light and the love that you want to see in the world. That's how we climb together. That's how we equip each other for this climb. I love you. I truly love you from my heart to your heart.
Well, thank you, Tina. And yep, the feeling is mutual. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your Monday and have a beautiful week. And we will see you all next time.